So originally today's video was supposed to be trying out 2022 trends as seen on the runways of the most recent fashion weeks, and while there were a lot of cool collections I really enjoyed, I quickly realized that it was going to be an uphill battle to try and recreate them well. And especially when you're just trying to work with what you already have in your wardrobe. So for that same reason, I'm not necessarily tackling the most iconic runway shows in history, and a lot of my personal favorites have been left out as well, but always an opportunity for a part 2. However, today I just picked some that I felt like meshed with my own personal style and would still be relevant in today's current landscape. Before completely aborting the original mission, I did actually have a plan for the most recent Diesel collection, which is one I saw the most hype around at the time. The two main takeaways for me was their use of double denim and the micro minis, both of which I tried to inject into my own look here. Definitely a much more toned down version of what they sent down the runway though. I really like this look, in particular the jacket, which is giving me throwback Diesel vibes from the early 2000s. My only wish is that I had a much wider belt, but I don't know, for some reason I am having no luck in this department at the thrift store, and even searching online on Depop and stuff, there's nothing unless you want to pay a small fortune. But I think that's the only thing that's really holding it back from being instantly recognizable as a Diesel reference. There was absolutely no way I wouldn't include Anna Sui in this video. So after sifting through many viable options, I landed on 1994 Spring Summer collection, which ironically reminded me of Brat's Wintertime Wonderland. The hat is definitely what sparked this outfit. I thrifted it recently and have been dying to style it, so this acted as the perfect inspiration. I really enjoyed the use of more muted pastel tones, hence the choice of baby blue. And although my sweater didn't have a pattern like a lot of theirs did, I just brought it down to the skirt instead, which I think ties in really well with the hat, both color-wise and also just having some sort of texture going on rather than just color blocking. I wouldn't typically think to pair it with sheer tights and heels, but for some reason I really love how it turned out and gives it a more sweet energy. Not gonna lie, I was very nervous to include this designer just because I feel like he's so well loved within the fashion community that it's a lot of pressure to try and do him justice, and it's not exactly easy to do so. But here I am giving it my best shot, inspired by his 2009 fall collection, which as you can see is a lot of black layers. This zip-up vest came to save the day because it really gives the dimension the look would have been lacking otherwise. It can be kind of hard to pick up the details from far away on a monochrome look, but close up, hopefully you can tell that I've got the mini skirt layered over some disco pants with some leg warmers on top of that. The only thing that I think could have made this better is if one of those elements was in a faux leather, which would obviously make it more similar to what we saw on the runway and also just add a little bit more texture. Another texture they added through styling were these fuzzy headbands, which I was able to somewhat emulate. Versace is obviously an absolute powerhouse of a brand with a lot of iconic shows to choose from. I landed on this particular one from 2003 because I feel like over the last year it's been brought back into relevancy, with a lot of people doing dupes for the suddenly 30, 13 going on 30 dress that Jennifer Garner wore. Don't worry, I'm not just going to pull out a knockoff and call it a day. Instead, I've decided to take inspiration from the beautiful colors we see in this collection and also mixing and matching elements we see in different looks. For example, these cute flippy skirts with the leather coat. As a lover of color, I am obsessed with this look. It makes me feel like a little Polly Pocket with the really bright color blocking elements and of course the plasticky boots. Marc Jacobs continues to be influential with the fashion industry, whether you go back to his time at Perry Ellis with the 1993 grunge-inspired show, or more recently with Marc Jacobs Heaven garnering such a strong fan base. One show I always go back to though is from 2017, and I think it will remain a classic. There's just something about that 70s New York inspiration that I will never grow tired of. This also came out around the same sort of time as The Get Down, which I still to this day think is the best thing Netflix has ever done. Honestly, I think I even did an outfit inspired by this collection at the time, and potentially I wore the exact same coat. But to be fair, this coat is stunning, and the outerwear was such a big part of the collection, as well as the hats and of course just the neutral tones in general. Blue Marine is a brand that I feel like has made quite the comeback over the last couple of seasons with some really strong collections, as well as the likes of Maddie from Euphoria wearing some of their vintage looks. Today I'm taking inspiration from one of their offshoots, Blue Girl, and their 2004 collection, which is giving me very Girl Next Door, very like Marissa Cooper from the OC. The particular looks that really stood out to me were these cute matching sets with the leopard details. I opted for green. Not only is it one of my favorite colors to wear, but it also teams beautifully with the warm neutral colors of the leopard print. And actually, if you guys follow me on TikTok, you may have already seen this look. I showed it when I was styling these Al Dante's boots I recently thrifted, which I'm still not over, by the way. Although all the elements are quite simple, I feel like together it makes such a polished end result. Very timeless. It wouldn't matter when I see you wearing this, I would still think it looks cute. On the flip side of that, may I present the Dior 2005 Runway, which is very much not simple or timeless. The vibe I'm getting is 2000s it girl wakes up hungover, so she's wearing an oversized hat and sunglasses and literally throws on anything she can find on the floor, which kind of has a similar energy to the unhinged fashion girlies of TikTok. Honestly, I'm not 100% sold on my rendition of it. I'm feeling the top half, but the bottom half I think could have done with some tweaks. For example, I'd prefer if the skirt was a little bit more fitted and also just an inch or two shorter so it could really highlight the boots. With that being said though, these boots aren't even the best choice. Preferably, I would have had the full-on Yeti boots. So although I was very close to scratching this altogether whilst editing, I decided to leave it in here because it was fun to play around with something outside my comfort zone, and I do think I'll be able to take elements into my own style in the future. If there's one thing I love, it's gotta be plaid, which is probably why I love Vivienne Westwood so much. Sadly, not recreating one of her collections today. Again, it felt like too much pressure. I couldn't do it justice. Instead, I wanted to go with this show from Catherine Hamnett, a designer I'm much less familiar with, but for some reason, this particular look lives on my Pinterest page rent-free. What really drew me to it was their clashing of different plaids and argyle patterns in the one outfit. As a plaid enthusiast, I knew I'd have enough choices to find the right combination. I think the key to pulling this off is using various sized patterns. For example, the plaid in the skirt is a lot smaller than that on the vest. Also, if you look closely, both are using a very similar color palette. They're just choosing one particular color to be more prominent than the other. Some of the looks were styled with PVC pieces, so of course I had to break out my matrix coat. I finished it off with just some chunky loafers, but what would have looked incredible with this would have been the plaid docks that they collabed with Marc Jacobs Heaven on. Betsy Johnson in the 90s was low-key elite. Again, similar to Anna Sui, just the sort of thing that I could see myself incorporating into my everyday wardrobe. This 1994 show themed Betsy's Beauty Parlor is a lot of fun to watch because the models pretty much have free range to be a little bit more creative with what they do on the runway. Majority of the looks have a more lingerie influence to them. I'm taking inspo from this particular outfit, mostly because I love these vintage night robe cape situations, and I think they're going to be really trendy moving forward this year. The other key points I tried incorporating were the lace, the corset style, and of course the thigh-high stockings. For me, what takes this out of the bedroom and into something more wearable is definitely the chunky boots. I will throw these on with literally anything, and surprisingly also having a more funky hairstyle. It's giving very Stacy Girls. If you know, you know. But yeah, I love this. One of my favorites of the video, hands down. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. I had to dip back into another one of her collections, this time from 1998, that had a very mystical, witchy aura to it. This time, rather than mimicking one particular outfit, I decided to go off the vibes and just see what I could come up with. I ended up layering 2 dresses and a top for the final result, all of which were thrifted like 4 or 5 years ago. I definitely feel like I could join the girls of the craft in this, which in my mind, it feels like we've achieved the desired goal. Except maybe the necklace, because it's definitely not as dramatic. Those were all the looks I had for you today though. I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know which ones were your favorite, and also just your favorite runway shows in general. And if you guys want, maybe I can feature them in a part 2. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully I see you next time, or maybe even over on my TikTok. Bye!